Because I have the rest of the show to do, but that is very cool. Miss Jeannie Seeley and Miss Terry Nutter coming in here from the Donaldson Hermitage Chamber. Lots of exciting things happening. You can go to the Donaldson Hermitage Chamber website to find out all that information. And we have a special Christmas holiday edition of Nashville Dirt with Dalton Quigley. First of all, since we are also on our Nashville Today page with our Facebook Live, I want you to pick up that iPad that you have there because you have a new addition to the family. And oh my goodness, how cute is that baby? Oh my gosh. Now tell me about his name.
Oh, his name is Grayson Noah Angel. So he has a really holy name.
Yeah, it's a powerful name. Goodness.
Children are a holy gift. You know that?
They
might be holy terrors as they get older at times, but they're always a holy gift.
Mm-hmm. He's amazing. For all the newborns we had kept us up forever. But
he sleeps a lot?
He doesn't.
Bless him.
Well, he feeds and then he sleeps, but he's not having any problems. You know what I mean? So my daughter's definitely missing a lot of sleep, but it's not quite the same as a child that really has a lot of, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Has a lot of gas and whatnot. Yeah. He's been really great.
That's awesome.
I love it. And you shaved your beard.
Oh yeah, no more beard.
See? So the new baby's like, okay, I'm gonna be all clean shaven, no beard grabbing for this kid. Oh, I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about the holidays, Nashville landscape design, because we don't just stay inside for the holidays. Outside is a big deal.
Oh yeah, our clients are big outdoors people for sure, and so we do a lot of hardscapes and fire pits and fireplaces to keep them warm, and just everything to bring you from inside to outside.
There are a lot of people who this time of year will do a lot of the construction that they're going to use year round.
Yes.
So when you're doing your outside landscaping, are you getting some orders for some designs now for those fireplaces and fire pits and maybe the barbecues that are going to be used?
Definitely. We just completed an amazing outdoor grill, and it looks like it just came out of Italy. It's just so beautiful. I texted you guys an image earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but it's got the lights on it, so at night when you go out to use it, it's perfect. This was a complete Viking setup, so everything ignites, for you, and it's just amazing.
As in the brand Viking. I know that the new show, because my sister is a fan, and she said the new episode of Vikings just aired last night. We're not talking that kind of Viking setup.
Yeah, I like that show.
I do too.
That's so great.
This one, it came with a refrigerator, a trash bin, a place to put your utilities, lots of counter space.
Wow.
So you could entertain. It's totally a conversation piece, but they're very popular today.
Can we go to Nashville Landscape Design and see that picture?
I don't think I have that particular picture, but on our fan page I do. If you go to facebook.com/Landscape Nashville, or if you look up Quigley's Landscaping on Facebook, it pulls it up.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the Christmas plants, inside to out. We've been talking about poinsettias. Now, what is the deal with all the different colors? There used to be one color of poinsettia, which is red.
Right.
Now they're every color.
I don't know how they do it, but it has to do with the chlorophyll leaving the leaves, during certain temperatures and light cycles.
Interesting.
And one neat story is when we lived in New Orleans, the very first home my wife and I rented, it was on Lake Avenue in Metairie. Mm-hmm. And so it was a tiny, tiny little home. And it actually had 2 doors on it. So it must have been a Depression era thing. Mm-hmm. Right on the side of the house, there was a poinsettia tree that was, I'd say maybe 10 feet tall. Because down there, the winters don't get quite as harsh. So it'll live all year round and actually become a tree.
I didn't know that poinsettias became trees. So if you have them and they show up and they come into your life, you've got those poinsettias. If you live in an area and you're listening somewhere where it doesn't get so frigidly cold.
Right.
But does the cold kill them?
The cold will definitely kill them. And not much, like just right around 32 degrees. If it's unprotected, they'll go ahead and die.
Okay, so the roots don't stay dormant like for a mum.
No, there's so much liquid in them. What happens is as the water expands, it just breaks all the cells inside of it, and so it dies from top to bottom.
Okay, but if you're listening in Florida, along the Redneck Riviera, all those areas down Orange Beach, all those areas in Louisiana where where we're from.
And it's very common to find them down there where people have just taken them out of the pot and put them in the ground. And as long as it's protected, like this particular spot, there were 2 houses and there wasn't much wind. So the 2 houses would radiate heat in the winter. So that's what it needed, just to be protected from cold temperatures.
And it turns into a tree.
It
I bet
does.
that is absolutely stunning.
I believe in South America, they get really, really huge, like 12, 15 feet tall.
What?
Well, it's a South American plant. That's where the story of the poinsettia. I encourage you, if you don't know the Christmas story, you can go online and Google the Christmas story of the poinsettia and why we have them at Christmas, because it's a beautiful story from Latin America.
And here in the Opry, one of the most amazing things you can see is as you walk through, you can see birds of paradise, giant banana plants, and palms all throughout the beautiful domed areas inside the Opry Hotel. And they can't grow that out here in the open in the winter.
But you can certainly have them inside. Now, I will tell you that if you have cats and dogs, you have to be a little guarded with your poinsettias because they are poisonous, the little berries. If you have animals that like to eat those poinsettias, then you have to keep those away.
Right.
They're not the perfect thing. Get the fake ones.
The milky sap of it is very toxic to animals.
So we encourage you that before you take the real plants of any sort into your home, know that for some reason, cats especially are drawn to chewing up of plants or leaves. So even the fake ones. Don't ask me how I know.
I guess they get bored.
Yeah, it's more boredom with them. Well, let's talk about some of the designs that people are bringing into the beds and things in front of homes, because curb appeal, we hear that all the time. This time of year, other than Christmas lights, what can people do?
Pansies are always fantastic, and violas. The ones that I brought last month, you remember the dot matrix ones with the big black dot and lots of bright color. They're always fantastic. One thing I wanted to mention that is that if you're going to do planting this year, this is the time to do your planting for trees and shrubs, because over the winter they root in, and the ground temperatures are warm during the winter. Even though you don't see anything growing on the top, in the ground they're rooting in, so that when you get to the drought in July, August next year, they're going to be able to survive it because they'll have those water reserves.
Okay, now is the time. That's the deal when you think, well, I planted my trees, it was green out and they didn't live. Why? And it's because of that. They need to root in the winter.
Right.
I always thought there was a really neat spiritual allegory to the fact that you have to go through the coldest of the dormant winter to have the beautiful spring. And I think that that's important to kind of put into your little psyche when it comes to planting. There are a lot of things to be planted this time of year, even grasses.
That's the main logic behind fescue, where we plant here in, say August, September time frame. We've got those 90-degree evenings. Everybody's putting down the grass seed. By the time you get to December, you've got this little immature grass. What's happening is it's rooting in over the winter, and then when spring comes, you give it a dose of nitrogen, and what's underground is so huge and what's above is so little, it just bursts and grows into full mature grass quickly.
What is the best kind of fertilizer to use for your lawns?
I don't recommend a lot of fertilizers. The only thing I really like is the dormant feed, which is basically chicken manure and kelp, because what it does is it feeds the little organisms in the soil, and it gives you better soil, so you don't really have to do all the fertilizing.
Oh, okay.
That's what I tend to lean on as far when I do consultations with clients about their lawn.
Mm-hmm. That's it really is, because some of the fertilize is really not great for the environment or you.
What happens is, a lot of these companies that put fertilizers on your lawn, they're not real careful, and I'm not saying every one of them, but some of them are not real careful, and the fertilizer washes into lakes and streams and rivers, and that becomes that toxic algae that's coming down the river, that people are on the beach and they're getting some strange thing from, because there's so much nitrogen. It's
that's where that comes from.
Mm-hmm. It comes from farms and other different, things, putting stuff into the water system, and then all the warm temperatures, things come alive and bloom and go crazy out near Louisiana, where it's the end of the river, and on the beach.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had no idea it was that big a deal. What are some things what is your number one call that you're getting this time of year?
Number one call. I think drainage right now is pretty important, where people are saying that they're getting water in their crawl space, and how can they kind of prevent it. The neighbor isn't real considerate and hasn't run their water where it should, and it's coming down. and I'm getting a lot of calls for patios and walkways. Right now, people are like, the plants are kind of dying down, and they're noticing their patio and they're noticing their walkway, and so I am getting a lot of those calls.
Making the outside beautiful is so what you do, and you have this wonderful way at Nashville Landscape Design.
Thank you.
In showing it before anything goes in the ground, you can do a 3D design where you can look at it on an iPad and just see what these plants are going to actually look like in full bloom.
Right. And I actually do the screenshots as though you're standing in different locations, so you can walk around the yard and look at it and you can picture it. And it's much easier to change when it's in the computer than it is after you've invested a bunch of money in reality. Another thing that I've heard about is I'll get clients that have started a project with someone, but the person didn't follow through and complete things properly, or even ran off or something. So it's really important to look up people and their credibility. Maybe get referrals, look at their reviews, look at some pictures of their work, and talk to them carefully about it before you choose who you're going to use, because I run across it all the time where someone has not done what they said, or they didn't build it properly.
So you get fix-it calls. People do not finish what they start. We hear that a lot here too, because we were just talking to someone whose name shall remain. We are not going to say it, but he was talking about getting a home built.
Right.
And the date keeps getting moved and keeps getting moved and keeps getting moved. And it really does play havoc with people's lives, because people make plans.
Right,
and
they do.
And when you're 2 months off schedule, and it's the 2 months between Christmas and New Year's when family's coming in or something like that, it really does make a difference. Or a big birthday celebration or a graduation where you want to have the family there and enjoying your outdoors.
Right. I heard of a lady recently, another contractor friend of mine told me about a story where she's gotten a bunch of work done. She continued to giving payments. $80,000 later, the guy ran off. Lots of equipment's on the property because he rented the equipment. It wasn't his. And he's gone. And then they found out that this guy actually had done it in another city before he came here. So really, looking at reviews, maybe meeting someone or talking to them by phone, is important. Someone that they've done business with. Just using someone credible for these things is really important.
Well, that's one of the reasons we have you on here, because you are credible and you always have a gazillion. Your reviews are fantastic. People love what you do. You're very meticulous.
I am.
And make sure, and you've got a lot of subcontractors that you hire, that you vouch for, that you've worked with for years.
Mm-hmm. And I do a lot of communication with the clients, so they know what's going on. Whether they're in town or out of town, they get pictures and updates, as things are progressing. They can break their projects into stages if they can't afford it all at once. And my design prices, if you were to use a landscape architect, you're probably starting off in the thousands, whereas a design with me, you're starting off in the hundreds.
Yeah.
So we're very priced, very competitive, very credible. We do amazing work and have loads of reviews. And so we'd love to help anyone with their project.
A lot of people when you look at the people's homes that are beautiful as you drive up and you go, oh, somebody's worked really hard for that.
That's right.
And it's not an instinct. No matter what you think, you can't just say, well, I'm going to go and decorate my yard. It's not an instinct for everyone, but it is for you.
Yeah, ever since I was a child, the thing is I get a feeling in a space, and I've always wondered what is causing that. Why am I feeling that this space makes me feel warm and comfortable and welcoming, and why does this space feel like everything's off and totally wrong? And so there's design principles that you can work with, and there's also proportions and scale and textures and form and shape and color. So when I do a design, I'm using everything that I can get from the individual, their past, things that they like and don't like, how many people they're entertaining with, any kind of themes. And I blend that with what's the scale of the home, where are the lines coming from, where are they going, how can we create the flow that's going to make you feel like walking out that door and feeling the things that you want to feel in that space.
I love it. Dalton Quigley, Nashville Landscape Design, part of our Nashville Dirt for the holiday season. Well, you have a new Christmas gift named Grayson Noah.
That's right.
Grayson Noah Angel. Now, how is that? This kid's going to be special.
Yeah,
no
for
matter what
sure.
happens, because he's already got a great name.
That's an amazing name.
It is. Well, congratulations, Grandpa. What's your grandpa name?
I think it's going to be Papa.
Oh,
Yeah. In Louisiana, I think most people say Papa, and that's what
Yeah.
I grew up with knowing.
yeah.
So
So you're going to be Papa.
I think
love
my
it.
wife is going to take her Greek ancestry and do Gigi.
Okay,
Love that too.
Gigi and Pawpaw. I love it. Well, congratulations and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.